Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. By viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Friday, January 28th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi, a helping hand in a time of need. As Americans await those free N95 masks from the federal government, the local business community had the chance today to pick up some free PPE. KPBS health reporter Matt Hoffman begins our coverage.
At the San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce, thousands of masks are being given out to local businesses.
We just got 70,000 masks from Cal OES, and we're distributing every Friday from 9 to 4 p.m. walk-ins. You get a month's worth of PPE. We have N95s, we have these 3-ply masks, and we have hand sanitizers. So first come, first serve.
Summer Bales with the Chamber says it's not just for businesses.
It's for members, businesses, nonprofits, anyone. We're just trying to get PPE out the door, get as many people protected as we can.
Business owners can order their own PPE through the state of California, but the Chamber plans on continuing these distribution events every Friday.
Until supplies run out, and then we'll order some more from the state.
For more information, people can reach out directly to the Chamber. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
The city of San Diego is facing a new legal challenge over its vaccination mandate for employees. Today, supporters gathered outside of the fire and police stations in La Jolla. The majority of the city's first responders are vaccinated, but hundreds still are not. Some officers and firefighters say they just don't want to be.
When you need us, does it matter when you call 911? Because it doesn't. Officers, firefighters, dispatchers, city workers, we're being heroes every day, vaccinated or not. If we continue down this road, though, we will be fired.
A City of San Diego spokesperson says right now some 1,100 vaccine-exempt requests are being reviewed. While dozens of advance termination letters have gone out, no one has lost their job yet. In fact, the city says the majority of those who got the letters have since come into compliance. It appears the COVID surge fueled by Omicron is winding down. While some areas of the country are still seeing new cases, they've been declining or holding steady in almost half of the states over the past 2 weeks. But now there's a new concern. A spin-off of the Omicron variant called BA2, which has been found in at least 40 countries, including here in the U.S.
Doesn't appear to be substantially different with regard to transmissibility. But if you look at severity of cases and you look at the data from Denmark, it doesn't appear that the cases that are with the new variant, the sublineage of Omicron, are any more severe.
Health experts say the best defense is still getting vaccinated, especially boosted. The county released data showing just under 50% of San Diegans have gotten their booster, and that means more than 1 million people are still due for their third shot. There's a high wind warning in effect in San Diego County as the region has been hit with another Santa Ana wind event. KPBS reporter Kitty Alvarado tells us while they're not unusual in the winter, the lack of rain is, and that's a cause for concern.
The Santa Ana winds are at it again. Just last week, powerful gusts wreaked havoc on the Southland, toppling massive trees and taking out power.
Never had wind like that, never.
And now, just days later, the region is bracing for more Santa Anas.
It's all or nothing this winter.
That's Alex Tardy, a senior meteorologist with the National Weather Service. He says this winter has been extreme, and while Santa Ana winds are normal this time of year, what's not is the lack of rain.
October, November, that's our Santa Ana season, but that's truly our wildfire and Santa Ana season. And then this time of the year, it's our Santa Ana and rain season. But when you don't have rain, you're left with Santa Anas.
Little rainfall and warm Santa Anas are notorious for causing mega fires in the fall after the heat has dried everything out. But the winds and this dry January are quickly changing moisture levels.
The longer we go into February without seeing much rain, we might again be talking about fire weather because unfortunately, it looks like more Santa Ana winds will set up next week.
Since we have these wind events so commonly, we do stay at a pretty high baseline staffing in San Diego County.
Captain Thomas Schutz with CAL FIRE San Diego says that has our fire crews on alert and ready.
But certainly any fire that starts with a good wind on it, a good wind-driven fire is going to be a challenge for us even this time of year.
That's why Tardy says it's critical we don't let our guard down, prepare our homes, and have evacuation plans, even late in the winter, because the Santa Anas
that are with us now and will be with us forever, and we need to take them serious each time they occur, whether it's wind damage or wildfire threat, sometimes both.
Kitty Alvarado, KPBS News.
The Farmers Insurance Open is back at the Torrey Pines Golf Course, and the event is about more than just great golf. KPBS reporter Melissa May shows us how it also helps local charities.
When one thinks about the Farmers Insurance Open, images like this or this come to mind.
There's nothing like it, honestly. To watch these guys hit their tee shots and play their game is something special, and to have it in our backyard is even more special. So we're really stoked to be here.
Encinitas resident Robbie Cardwell and his family are enjoying their 5th Farmers Insurance Open. But the first major televised golf tournament of 2022 is more than just a world-class golf tournament, thanks to the efforts of the Century Club.
Using the tournament to help raise awareness about our city, the charities, and the initiatives that we, are trying to achieve. That's what it's all about.
The Century Club operates the entire Farmers Insurance Open, and their Champions for Youth charitable program benefits 6 local charities that support the youth of our community.
Mike Metz is the 2022 chairman for the Century Club and says they provide services besides financial support.
We get more involved than just that. I mean, that's obviously necessary, but getting involved in the organization intimately, going to their location and helping with fixing up their properties and providing guidance and mentorship to some of these kids.
Play good today.
Thank you. I think that's going to inspire a new generation, and I think that's part of the purpose, is to create inspiration and show these kids that there are dreams that they can fulfill.
5th grader Halen Libby has been playing golf for 3 years and has this to say about the Century Club helping youth to play golf.
That's super awesome because kids should have opportunities to play sports as well, no matter where they come from or where they live.
The Santee resident is excited to be able to watch golf in person again.
It feels really awesome that I get to have these experiences, especially with my dad. It's so cool because I love golf so much.
The Farmers Insurance Open wraps up on Saturday. If you would like to donate to the Century Club, go to farmersinsuranceopen.com/community/charity. Melissa May, KPBS News.
A ribbon cutting today on a new youth transition campus. County officials say the Kearney Mesa facilities are designed like a community college to inspire teens. The focus is to serve justice-involved youth who need intensive restorative services before re-entering the community.
It provides a therapeutic environment where we will focus on pro-social activities, giving our youth in custody opportunities and successful pathways as they transition out back into the community.
The campus is a secure detention facility that features 4 housing units, educational buildings, an amphitheater and stage, as well as recreation courts. Investigators are asking the public for information about a suspected arson fire that damaged the home of 2 local politicians. Firefighters were called to the City Heights home of San Diego County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher and his wife, former Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez, 2 weeks ago. Investigators say the fire appeared to have started in an outdoor trash can. They believe it was intentionally set. Anyone with information is asked to call San Diego County Crime Stoppers at the number that you see on your screen, 888-580-8477. Tonight, the Consulate General of Mexico's San Diego office is hosting a vigil for 2 journalists killed in Tijuana this month. Both had sought help from a Baja California program aimed at protecting those who report the news. Well, that help never came. As KPBS border reporter Gustavo Solis shows us, their deaths are taking a toll on the region's cross-border journalists.
2 days after Lourdes Maldonado was murdered outside her Tijuana home, her dog, Chato, is still waiting for her to return. Concerned neighbors brought food and water, but the poor dog refuses to eat or drink. It just sits there, whimpering near the door. Maldonado was the second Tijuana journalist to be killed this month, and the third in all of Mexico. Margarito Martinez, who was a prolific crime photographer, was shot and killed outside his home on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And a week before that, Veracruz journalist José Luis Gamboa was brutally stabbed to death. Mexico has long been among the most dangerous places in the world for those who report the news. But the slayings this month have brought the fear and outrage among the journalists to another level. This week, they took to the streets.
¡Viva Lourdes Maldonado! ¡Viva! ¡Viva Margarito! ¡Viva! ¡Viva Margarito! ¡Viva! ¡Viva los periodistas de Tijuana y del país! ¡Viva!
The reporters are demanding more protections for the living and justice for the dead.
¡Justicia! ¡Justicia!
Sonia de Anda heads a local journalist collective called Yo sí soy periodista, or Yes, I am a journalist. She helped Maldonado enroll in the Baja California program to protect journalists 2 years ago. Now she says that program failed Maldonado. Most heartbreaking to her is that Maldonado knew how vulnerable she was and foresaw her own death outside her home. She had told De Anda almost exactly how her death would happen.
Sentía que su momento más vulnerable era cuando llegaba a su casa, se bajaba del carro y caminaba 4 pasos para entrar a su puerta. Decía, ese es mi momento, y casualmente es donde la matan, ¿no?
¿Lo sabía?
Sí, lo sabía. Haz de cuenta que lo describió.
De Anda says that Margarito Martinez had also asked for state protection last December.
El 17 de enero que lo asesinan, pues prácticamente me entero que nunca lo habían incorporado al mecanismo porque el sistema estatal no se había instalado.
But the new governor, who took office in November, had not yet set up the enrollment process. Jan Albert Hudson is the Mexico representative for the Committee to Protect Journalists. He says Baja California's protection program is woefully inadequate.
The entire Baja California state mechanism is a hollow shell. It is not autonomous. It doesn't have a budget of its own. It has maybe 3 or 4 people working for it. It has its knowledge of risk evaluation and applying protection is rudimentary at best.
And it isn't just Baja California. Crimes against reporters are rarely punished in Mexico.
The principal factor that fuels these attacks is the impunity in Mexico. In practice, it means that more than 95% of all crimes against the press in Mexico are never actually prosecuted.
Tanya Navarro is a reporter at the San Diego Union Tribune. The last time she saw Maldonado was at Martinez's memorial less than a week ago.
Unfortunately, we were here last Friday, 4 days ago. It was, I wouldn't know, but it was the last time that I would see Lourdes.
Maldonado was a veteran broadcast journalist who had covered Tijuana for decades. Navarro saw her as an inspiration to young women in the news industry.
And that's how I remember her, as a hard worker and an example for many of us that started journalism when she was already a big reporter here in this town.
Longtime journalist Vicente Calderon says the 2 recent murders bring back memories of similar crimes against reporters in Tijuana more than 30 years ago. He remembers marching in 1988 after the murder of Hector Felix Miranda. He worries now that the younger generation of reporters will be pressured to leave the industry altogether.
And when you see this climate, many people will think twice. I've been talking to some of my colleagues, especially the younger ones, and they say that the relatives are the first ones to tell them, why don't you get away from the profession? Why don't you choose another line of work? Why don't you come back to the other city where it wasn't that dangerous as Tijuana? So it has a toll.
The killings this month have already had a psychological impact. Local reporters are second-guessing which stories to cover and when to leave their house. They travel in packs for protection. Journalist Yolanda Morales says the entire press corps is looking over his shoulder.
Yo creo que ahorita todos nosotros.
I think all of us are scared, she says. We leave the house scared. This shouldn't be happening in a democratic country. But Sonia de Anda says that journalists will not succumb to the fear.
Continuamos sabiendo que nuestra sangre se puede derramar.
They won't hide, flee from the country, or stop working, even knowing that their blood could be spilled. Gustavo Solis, KPBS News.
A new state law in California is requiring food scraps to be composted, not put in the landfill. KPBS SciTech reporter Thomas Fudge explains the benefits of composting and how far San Diego is from realizing them.
About 2,000 pounds of food waste, which is about a ton.
Jessica Toth opens a composting bin at the Solana Center for Environmental Innovation, where she is executive director. For years, the center has been doing what state law now requires cities and counties to do: collect food waste and recycle it in the form of compost. Toth says the new law, SB 1383, will make a difference.
It was a kick in the seat of the pants that we really needed as a region to address the shortage we have in capacity for managing our food waste.
And there's a lot of food waste, an estimated 500,000 tons each year in the San Diego region. One big problem with landfilling food waste is methane, a powerful greenhouse gas that's produced by rotting food.
Statewide, it's responsible for as much as 20% of the methane that we emit into the climate.
Toth says composting instead of landfilling would make a big difference.
The composting process uses microorganisms to break down the material, which is not what's happening in the landfill.
In a landfill where all waste is combined, organic waste creates methane, and the valuable nutrients that are in that waste are not returned to the soil. With composting, greenhouse emissions are reduced and nutrients are returned to the soil as compost is used for agriculture and gardening. In fact, land-applied compost actually absorbs carbon in the atmosphere. The city of San Diego is one of those communities that got that kick in the pants from SB 1383. Ken Prue with the city's Environmental Services Department says they expect to roll out their expanded food recycling program this summer, when San Diego residents should get their new green containers. Prue says they had to find $9 million in the city budget to fund the expansion.
It allowed us to do key initial steps for implementation. So for being able to move forward with the hiring of 40 drivers and to be able to purchase 43 collection trucks and to be moving forward towards all the containers. There's a lot of pieces to it.
Jessica Toth says San Diego is still far behind many California counties and cities when it comes to municipal composting. She estimates San Diego County now has the capacity to compost only 30% of its food waste. Thomas Fudge, KPBS News.
Gas stoves have a much more significant impact on climate change than previously thought. Scientists at Stanford University found the emissions from gas stoves in U.S. homes have the same climate warming impact as that of 500,000 gasoline-powered cars. The study estimates gas stoves leak up to 1.3% of methane into the atmosphere. Methane is the main component of natural gas and escapes from stoves even when they are turned off.
The good news is those winds, they start to fade for us tomorrow, but we're going to see a little bit of a change in our pattern here. Entering in a few more clouds and even a couple sprinkles possible as we get into tomorrow. Can't be ruled out, even maybe a few as we head through the night. Cooler weather trying to work in for later next week, at least for our interior locations. Might not notice as much towards the coast and inland communities, but once you get to the mountains, deserts, we could find that here. Winds pretty gusty as you look towards the mountains, the canyons, and we will find that dying down as we head into tomorrow and afternoon. So some good news, but until then, keep in mind, still breezing a few spots overnight. San Diego 47 for your low as we look towards Borrego Springs 43, and really, again, dealing with the clouds coming in. It's not just really a marine layer, it's also just upper level clouds with an upper level low. So notice how most of the southwest is quiet. We do have an upper level low offshore, and that's what's going to be pushing in some of those clouds for us. Maybe a stray sprinkle. It's not going to be a lot of wet weather if we see it anywhere. Tomorrow we can see we're going to be at 68. Again, possibly a sprinkle out there. We do have it in the forecast. Probably a better chance in our mountain locations than towards the coast or inland communities, but Again, can't rule it out anywhere. 45 for the high in Mount Laguna, 70 in Oceanside. As we head into your Sunday, that upper level low sweeps across the southwest. Some showers possible through Arizona and parts of New Mexico, but again, staying away from us and really not giving us too many big changes. As we go through your weekend, the clouds, they're going to be found for your Saturday. Then we'll try to bring in some more sunshine. Temperatures kind of cooling off a bit into Tuesday, where we do have a few extra clouds, but overall a pretty quiet trend for us towards the coast. Inland communities getting into the 70s for the weekend. Still looking at a lot of clouds for your Saturday, then trying to brighten things up as we finish off the weekend. Mountain communities, notice that shower is still in the forecast for tomorrow. Then as we get towards next week, look at this. Bit of a cool down, back to the lower 40s for the middle of the week. And we'll find that cool down in our desert locations too. For KPBS News, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Melissa Constancer.
Many San Diegans are in shock over their recent power bills. SDG&E customers are seeing a spike in their monthly payments, some say as high as 50%. A statistics professor at Cal State San Marcos went so far as to file a lawsuit against SDG&E after his bills had gone up 117% over 5 years.
I get up in the morning, it's 58 degrees, and I stand in front of the thermostat and debate with myself whether I should freeze to death or turn on the heater.
Experts say things are only going to get worse. SDG&E told our media partner 10 News it understands clients' concerns and that bills rise in the winter months. They say they're not upcharging customers, but add that wholesale natural gas prices are up 25% in just 1 year. A key inflation measure rose last year at the fastest pace since 1982. The Bureau of Economic Analysis says inflation was up 5.8% between December of 2020 to December of 2021. Energy prices climbed nearly 30%, and food prices rose 5.7%. American incomes also rose with inflation, but only by 0.3%. Plan on paying a bit extra for credit cards and other loan payments this year. SDSU's Mira Kopik explains why the move to raise interest rates will help the inflation problem in the Friday Business Report.
So the big reason why you're going to increase rates is you want to slow things down a little bit and pull back the economy just a touch, because the economy grew at a very, very strong rate. What the Fed's going to do is that they're saying, we can't kind of raise, rates so quickly. We're going to do it in a very measured fashion, increasing in March by about 1/4 point, and maybe looking at 3 increases in 2022 to get the rates from 0 where they are today to about 0.75%. Some economists think that the Fed's going to have to speed that up and add a 4th increase to slow inflation down. Unfortunately, business is, concerned. We saw the market, until the Fed announced the policy, kind of being very erratic during the month of January. So hopefully it'll provide some stability to the markets, and it'll also provide, greater clarity for businesses to plan their spending and investment in 2022.
Disneyland Resort is inviting guests to ring in the Year of the Tiger at Disney California Adventure Park. The Lunar New Year event, running now through February 13th, is described as a tribute to Chinese, Vietnamese, and Korean cultures with a touch of Disney magic. Mulan's Lunar New Year procession returns with a new float, and there are special drinks, food, and merchandise for sale. Southern California guests can visit Disneyland for as little as $67 a day with the purchase of a 3-day, 1 park per day weekday ticket. Ice cream might just be one of the most loved desserts of all time, and in San Marcos, a chocolate-flavored ice cream got recognized as being one of the best in America. KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne shows us why it's so special.
Claremont residents Brad and Karen Woods took a drive to Winston's ice cream shop in San Marcos Friday morning.
Well, it's my 66th birthday, so my wife brought me up here for a surprise to get the best chocolate ice cream in the world.
Well, it isn't officially the best chocolate ice cream in the world, but it could be well on its way. That's because the Winston specialty was recently recognized as one of the top chocolate ice creams in the United States.
The National Ice Cream Retail Association does an annual conference. Part of that is a competition, an ice cream competition. And so we submitted our chocolate ice cream. We were just curious to get some feedback, kind of see how it would do.
But shop owners Chris and Sarah Wynn weren't expecting that kind of feedback.
And then we were really shocked and surprised to see we got the highest award possible. They rate all the ice creams, they grade out. It goes to Cornell University where they do a lot of testing. And so, we got the Blue Ribbon, which is the highest award, one of only 4 ice cream shops in the entire country to earn it.
Chris says developing the award-winning flavor took some time.
So I have this little notebook where I do all my testing and my recipes. And the first, third of that notebook is just chocolate.
And for those who are not fans of chocolate, Sarah says there are plenty of other unique flavors from around the world.
Part of that palette that we're always seeking is a little bit global, a little bit of the context of where we've lived and our experience in life.
Their menu does change, but Chris's favorite right now.
It's a pretzel-infused ice cream, so it has a little bit of saltiness to it. And then we add a salted caramel swirl, and then we take potato chips, Ritz crackers, and pretzels, and kind of break them up and coat them in butter and sugar, and toss that in the ice cream as well. So it's got like this really nice, salty, sweet, great flavors that go together.
This is a chocolate ice cream here at Winston's in San Marcos that got recognized for being one of the best chocolate ice creams in the nation. And so we're gonna try it right now and see what we think. Oh my gosh, it's delicious. Here at Winston's in San Marcos, Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
Lucky Tanya for getting to taste that. Winston's will be giving out free scoops of their nationally recognized chocolate ice cream with every purchase all day tomorrow. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. By viewers like you. Thank you.